Commodities Futures Trading Commission. It was a 5-member commission, 3 Democrats, 2 Republicans. One of the Democrats was going south on us. We kind of got him back. Part of the problem is that the Republicans have refused to confirm a couple of the people to be the ones who regulate that. The control of the currency is one very important one. And so we have a whole lot of guy who's not being very helpful. And then there's a third problem that's very relevant, and that is the Republicans are underfunding a couple of the regulatory agencies, which makes it harder, particularly the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, which deals with derivatives. And so what people can do is, if you live in districts with Republicans, tell them to stop harassing them, to confirm the appointees and do the funding. On the whole, the Obama administration is trying to do its best. If they have enough money, I cannot think of a case where any of the regulators, except for the control of the currency, that's because they wouldn't confirm the guy, where they're weakening what we tried to do. What he's trying to do is, one of the things we dealt with, an issue called preemption. That is, can the states pass laws that do consumer protection for national banks? And the national banks have said no. And in the bill last year, we said no, yes they can. And this guy is trying to undercut that. But getting people confirmed and getting adequate funding would go a long way to fulfilling it. And then the other thing, look, I don't want to endanger Yale's tax exemption, but one thing will decide whether or not that law is enforced well or not. Anybody want to guess what that is? The November election. If Barack Obama is reelected, that law will go into effect very strongly. And if Mitt Romney is elected, it won't. And if Rick Santorum is elected, God only knows what happened. I guess I mean that literally.
One more question. I was wondering actually what, to go back a little bit to the beginning, what your views were on the American-Israel Public Affairs Committee. And you just describe what kind of relationship.
Well, I think they are useful, but they overdo it a little bit. On the other hand, I spoke at forums, and they're the ones who encouraged me to do this, which includes my saying I'm strongly supportive of Israel, and I think it would be, as part of my support of Israel, I asked them to please crack down more on these price tag people and be a little more flexible and be tough on some of the settlements. But my problem with AIPAC, I used to have some discussions with them. They argue that we should always vote for foreign aid because it had aid to Israel. My point to them was, yes, it has aid to Israel, and that's why the bill passes. They had this conception that you needed to pass a foreign aid bill in order to help Israel. In fact, the reality was they needed to help Israel in order to pass a foreign aid bill. Israel was the engine of that train. And occasionally there would be times when there would be things in the foreign aid bill that many of us found offensive, like aid to the Nicaraguans. And I had a disagreement with them. I don't know how ethnic the audience is, you can give translations later, but I told them at one point they were asking us to vote for a foreign aid bill that I thought was schmutzidik. Filthy. Schmutz is the Yiddish word for real dirt. And that was my disagreement, because they said, oh, you got to vote for it. And we said, no, we don't have to vote for it. So I think I guess I put it this way, some in AIPAC, I think, take the view that that effective support for Israel is best done by never expressing any difference with Israeli policy. I think that's wrong. I think that's bad strategy. I don't want supporters who never tell me when they think I'm doing something wrong and can do something better. I want people who accept the validity of my enterprise, who are wholly supportive of what I'm trying to do, whether it's legislatively or electorally. But within that context, I want intelligent criticism from supporters, not uncritical cheering on. And I think that from time to time, AIPAC has made that line of mistake. Basically, they've been very helpful, but I think they have to guard against that tendency. Thank you all.
Thank you for putting this together. And quick PSA for Dems elections work. If you are interested in getting involved, we have an elections committee meeting tomorrow night at LC 317 at 7 o'clock. Thanks so much, guys.